Well, welcome back to Krown's Cadeau Cave. It is a beautiful Friday over here from Helsinki, Finland. Nice and bright and sunny outside for once, so people actually have a little bit of a smile on their face, but people here don't really know people here aren't really used to that, so it's like kind of like a half, crooked smile. Anyways, we got so much shit to talk about today. We have, we're going to talk about the Jewel. We're going to talk about the Deribit issue. We're going to talk about the Bitmex issue. We're going to talk about Bitcoin price action, of course. And man, I'm a little bit fired up myself, just because there's been so much fuckery going on in the market for the last 24 hours and such. So I'm kind of waking up to a little bit of a messy situation, if you can imagine my surprise, seeing the bad print on Deribit, which we're going to get into in depth in just a bit here. And I want to really want to hammer this one in, because I think that something's going on here. Anyways, I'm just realizing that once again the video in the background is still Chicago. I will be updating that soon enough. In fact, my setup should be coming here today, but you never know with the fucking postal service here. It's such a fucking pain in the ass. Anyways, I would like to wish you the best of the best. Always the happiest of the happiest as well, man. I want to wish you a happy Friday. It is a nice Friday, of course, and you made it all the way to the end of the week, but, well, you're cryptocurrency traders, so you already know. Doesn't mean anything. Anyways, let's get into the app scene right here. Before we get into the app scene, I do want to announce really quickly with regards to the Jewel. Yes, I did say that lifetime access will be cut off at 12 midnight for Pacific Standard Time. I'm actually going to extend that for a few more hours after this video, because there's been some issues, been some miscommunications on my own behalf, so I apologize about that. I just want to be very clear with people who are interested in it, so that everyone has full information on it. And also, we've also decided, as far as the app goes, that we're not going to immediately offer the Jewel right off the bat. There's actually going to be about a 3 to 4 week buffer period where we switch over to the new schedule. So there's basically going to be about a month of no Jewel access or no new Jewel access during that time, while we kind of upgrade everything. And we'll also be putting out some new updates. Anyways, so let's get into the app scene right here. And sorry, I should mention that the link to that is in the description of this video. And before I even go off of that, if you did invest in the Jewel and you are looking for access, please message me on Discord, preferably. If it has to be done by email, I suppose, but please understand that by email, things get lost, things get unorganized, and it's just not the best. It's just not the best venue for it. Discord is much easier, as I have everything set up there. Make sure to message me your username on TradingView, so I can add your access. A lot of people perhaps not getting that, so I fear that some people are getting it, and then they're watching the videos and they're like, hey, but where's the indicators? Like, yes, you need to send me your username on TradingView. All the directions are laid out in the first video, but I understand what I've learned is that people don't want to watch the first video pretty much ever, and instead they'll just message you, which is okay. But please, just go through that. It's going to make life easier for both you and myself. And then you get your access. So all is well and good. Anyways, let's talk about the app right here. The beta version has officially launched. We are going to be sending out email invites for the beta testers a little bit later today, I believe. Perhaps it might be tomorrow, but likely later today. We are on schedule. Everything's looking good, and it's quite exciting. So it's just going to be about 15 people to begin with. We're probably going to open up a little bit more access to some more people in the program. Maybe next week, get maybe another 10 to 15 people in. And then again, starting November 10th to November 15th, we're going to start to onboard all the people from the program into the app. So you'll be able to both view all of the program content if you want on Teachable, or you can view it on the app. Again, nothing's going to change for you. Only more will be added. You'll just have more venues to kind of watch these things, and you'll get access to the app, of course. So with that said, looking at the app right here, we do see Bitcoin's been mostly flat for the last 24-hour period. Total market cap pretty much unchanged. Yes, we are slightly up. Altcoin market caps, again, that is for all intents and purposes flat. So Bitcoin is kind of carrying the bolus of this little pick me up right here. But as far as price action goes, we haven't really broken the range either which way. And of course, higher time frames closing yesterday as in the monthly, which we're going to go over, which I do think really sets the tone. And I will speak about Deribit in just a second. But I do want to get through this first, and I do want to say that I'm actually still long on my account. Anyways, with regards to what we're looking at right here, you can see that open interest is around that $1 billion mark. which does make me believe that we see a move very, 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 very likely in the next 24-hour period. In fact, I was actually expecting to see one in the last like 10-hour period, but that's okay. Again, these sorts of things, it's timing these sorts of things is very difficult. Of course, you can kind of get an idea with volatility, but at the end of the day, it's more of a probability than anything. And I do think that this is lining up with likely a big move relatively soon. Bitcoin prices across all different zones are actually quite bifurcated here. You do see that the North American zone is trading well above Asia and East Asia right here. Which we haven't really seen before. So when we have differences in this, and the reason why we actually put this up is because you can see what likely the market makers are thinking, because they're looking at arbitrage, which actually I have a lot to say about that because it's a little bit of a Twitter dispute going on right now, which is just silly and probably a waste of time. But it's fun to talk shit anyways. So yes, there is going to be opportunities here, and that likely is going to precipitate some movement as well. So a lot of things lining up, and I do think that we're kind of due for a move here relatively soon. I will talk about biases in just for a second. Anyways, okay, cool. So let's actually get into the live scene, and I want to talk about the Deribit situation first before we get into the price action. And actually, before we talk about Deribit, let's talk about Bitmex. It seems like this whole fucking space is just falling apart right now. Bitmex just revealed the emails of a ton of its users in one of its emails. Sent out to people. It just had like everyone kind of CC'd in there, I guess. Just a little bit, just kind of destroys the confidence a little bit in this market. Probably not a huge deal. I mean, people's emails are pretty much public anyways, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be looked at as kind of a negative thing. More importantly, if you recall last night, I was sleeping during this time, but perhaps you were up if you were in the Western Hemisphere. Deribit had a massively bad print, right? They had a massively bad print where they essentially, sorry, let me get in the live stream right here. I'm actually on the Twitter thread right here, where they kind of summarize it up. But basically, Deribit had some sort of malfunction with the way that its index worked, and it had a very, very bad print, which actually triggered the liquidation engine because price action was printing down towards about 7,700. It was immediately bought back on up, but the thing is that when you have a bad print like that, it's not a real trade that brought it back down to begin with. And we see that by going across each and every other exchange. Now, this is completely different from what you typically see on an exchange like Kraken, which I'll actually bring up right now, just to kind of give an example here. Let's see, I think their symbol is XBT-USD. Yes, indeed it is. And every once in a while on Kraken, you'll get like these extremely nasty wicks. Well, every exchange got this one right here. I'm just going to go back in history just a little bit. Every once in a while, you just get these like very, very nasty outlier wicks. You see one right here to the downside. You see one right here to the upside. And those are real prints. Those are people just, seeing some sort of like a stop loss waterfall effect, which is also, it's like rocket fuel when you have a lack of liquidity to begin with. So that's real, and trades that go on here, these are real. So someone actually did, on this wick right here, someone actually did buy at around 4,500, and on this wick right on over here, someone actually did buy and sell right around 4,400 before the next major move up. That is different than what we saw in Deribit. Deribit was quite literally just a malfunction. So in my experience in traditional markets, which is where I come from, if you're new to this channel, I used to be a professional market maker, authorized trader on the floor of New York Stock Exchange ARCA. That sounds so fucking pompous when you say it like that. I just want to say that it's not my intention is not for that. My intention is to just talk about, what a real exchange actually does. And what will happen during those sorts of things is, well, the exchange will roll it back. And, it's just, it's like it never happened because it wasn't real to begin with. But on Deribit, what they did, and going into the Twitter thread right here, what they did is instead of rolling it back, they reimbursed all affected accounts. So longs were getting liquidated all the way down, right? And so they basically just added their equity back in. Now, this is very concerning to myself, especially as someone who's been using Deribit for a while, and I've kind of looked at Deribit as like one of the adults in the room in comparison to the rest of the exchanges in this market. I mean, this market, like, it doesn't take too much to stand out in this market just because most things are fucking garbage. But Deribit, looked, what was a more professional exchange to myself. The way that they handled the situation is unforgivable, though, in my opinion. The reason why is because there's no reason why not to roll back trades. And to not roll back trades implies that they are protecting something or hiding something. Obviously there's potentially a myriad of reasons why that would be. We can only speculate here, and I'm not really trying to put on my tinfoil hat or anything like that, but you could imagine that if there's some sort of a user affected on there, or if someone actually did buy down around that wick or caught some of it, they basically just got free money in a sense. So they only reimbursed. To kind of summarize it, they only reimbursed the people who got liquidated, right? The people who made trades during that time, that all stands, which makes very little sense to me, which makes extremely little sense to me. So we're not operating on the same playing field here. Not only that, but like I said, there's no reason to not roll back the trades on a bad print, because again, that is just, it's not real price action to begin with. That is quite literally, it's just an illusion as far as the charts go. So to me, that is indicative of something else going on, and I'm incredibly defensive when it comes to exchanges. So I am happy to basically get the fuck off Deribit. I'll be searching for a new exchange. I'm going to be looking into maybe FTX. I have no interest in Bitmex. I have no interest in Deribit, Deribit as well. Very little interest in Bybit. Very little interest in the myriad of fucking different exchanges that email me every day to like, hey, do you want to be our affiliates? Whatever the fuck. It's like, no, I would like an exchange that has liquidity and access to options plus multiple different legs on futures. So for myself, it's a little bit of a blow because my main trading strategy comes from understanding options and trading options and using that in confluence with spot. And after doing it for so long, there very rarely will you actually even take a loss. Assuming that you have your strategy done right. For myself, a lot of the time I will cover using options, so it gives you a lot of leeway, especially in a market like this, which just has massive fucking premiums. The point with this is, the point with this is that now I'm going to probably have to go to exchange that doesn't have fucking options. So I'm certainly not as good of a trader without options, and I'm happy to admit that I am not nearly as profitable as a trader without options. So you're probably going to see me take a lot more losses, and that's just baked in my strategy. Still be fine overall, most likely, of course, knock on wood. But I'm not necessarily looking forward to it. I'm certainly nothing special if I don't have access to options. So with regards to that, what Deribit has said, and what Deribit put out here is there's so much to say about this. First things first, they said a total of 150 Bitcoin has been reimbursed by Deribit. The insurance fund will remain unaffected, and all reimbursement will be paid by Deribit company reserves. That makes very little sense. It kind of leads me to believe that there's some sort of interplay here between who took advantage of that move and their payout. Also, 150 Bitcoin. Keep in mind that 150 Bitcoin is literally less than 1.5 million. I'm not saying this to sound arrogant or conceited or anything like that, but I can tell you that I was a large portion of that. And this number makes very little sense. And if this number is truthful, if this number is correct, let me just make sure that my microphone is on. I believe it is. Okay, good. And we're also recording. We're already 13 minutes in. I haven't even spoke about fucking price action. But 150 Bitcoin is very little. And this this is nothing new. There are multiple people out there who run more than a million contracts in Bitcoin, very consistently. So to me, this is also it's either factually incorrect, or if it is correct, then if it's factually incorrect, then the issue is that they're fucking lying. And if it is factually correct, then the issue is that there's no one fucking trading on this exchange. Like 150 Bitcoin on a move like that must have liquidated just about everyone. In fact, my streamer account did get liquidated. Of course, they did add the equity back. But that's not the issue here. The issue is integrity and transparency, and I have a big problem with this. So with that in mind, I don't feel comfortable trading there anymore, and I think that they made the wrong call here. I think that I don't see any reason why they should have not rolled back the trades. And I'll just kind of read through this a little bit. I didn't really go into detail on what I said right here. This guy, Mike Van Rossum, I'm happy to have a conversation, although it's probably not the best use of time. But the thing is that he says completely disagree. I just want to address this really, really quickly. Disagree completely. Rolling back trades is the worst thing to happen for all MMs and LPs. Okay, I used to actually be a market maker, authorized trader with Series 56. No, that's not an issue at all because rolled back trades counts for all trades. It would be unaffected, and more importantly, it wouldn't change. It wouldn't change anything. So it shows a lack of understanding here. And then he says liquidity providers. I can't speak directly towards that from my own experience because I'm not like a big clearinghouse or anything like that. But what I could say is, again, it would still not follow. These people are likely playing a game of arbitrage. The MMs are certainly playing a game of arbitrage, which this guy then goes on to, I then try to put my 2 cents in once again, which is, again, probably not the best use of time. Then he says, I guess you are not an MMM crypto. Very different space. MMs having to hedge into changing delta is one of the main reasons Bitcoin crashed roughly 50% last year. Destroy your credibility all in one sentence or 2 sentences right there. Bitcoin crashed last year because it was in a bubble. Bitcoin, it was not due to the market makers. It's not due to anything. Market makers are playing a delta neutral game. They're playing fucking arbitrage. They're locking it in almost immediately. And I can say this once again because I used to be a market maker myself. And if you do want to say that it was in a different venue, then that's completely fine. But I can also speak towards my friends' firms who are one of the bigger firms actually making markets in this game for crypto. And they're playing about the same game. So this is a misguided comment in my opinion. The reason why Bitcoin crashed last year, again, is mostly due to tentacles. I mean, many people called the crash. Many people saw it well in advance, and it was tentacle. It was also a bubble popping, and that's the way that Bitcoin's been doing things for the last 10 or so years, ever since its inception. So I don't see how that's a reasonable response. And more importantly, this person is kind of sidestepping the issue with Deribit. The issue is integrity and transparency. That is why I am very, very disgusted with the way that they handle this. So I just want to address that very, very quickly. Anyways, let's see. Alrighty, cool. Anyways, I think it's time to talk about actual price action now. As far as exchanges go, I'm basically looking for a new exchange. I'm happy to work with an exchange too, as long as they're good. My main thing is that it has to be something that I actually use myself. That is my biggest thing here. I only promote shit that I actually use myself. I mean, even the beard oil the link to the beard oil that you see in the in the description of this video, while it might seem out of place and kind of strange, I actually do use that, and it's pretty fucking good, especially in your hair too, and it smells really good as well. Anyways, let's talk about some goddamn Bitcoin over here, because that was just a strange situation. Anyways, okay, cool. So let's get into it now. Let me just close a few windows. There we go. And let me just adjust this guy right here. There we go, over there. Okay, beautiful. Alrighty, let's get into it now. I always feel like I've missed talking about something, but it's time to get into Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin, let's get over to the monthly. Let's talk about the big fucking elephant in the room, and that is the phenomenal close that we just had on the monthly. I really, really like this close. It's not a perfect close. I think it would have been a lot better if it closed above 95. It would have made me instantly bullish. But a close like this, I am happy to once again put on a long, which I have done. On an unknown exchange. Could we come down here and retest a 10 simple? Yes, absolutely. We could come all the way down to 8,000 or 8,200, and not really destroy the monthly structure. So we'll talk about the lower timeframes and kind of where to judge that. But I do think that this does set the tone for the longer term picture. More importantly, we are getting divergence between the red 10 simple and the yellow 21 exponential moving average. This intuitively. That when a lower period is diverging from a higher period, the trend is strengthening in that direction. In this case, it would be to the upside. Both have positive slopes, and this is a very similar signature to what we had back on over here in April 2016, where Bitcoin had that first major leg up coming out of the bear market slump, and then had a pretty nasty pullback to the tune of about, I believe in this scenario, about 35%, something like that. And then marched its way upwards and onwards from 350 all the way up to about $20,000 price per Bitcoin. Pretty damn impressive. Anyways, I'm not necessarily saying that Bitcoin's going to have a similar reaction here, like another 5,000% rally, but I am saying that this is good enough to make me bias to the upside. on the higher time frames. Let's look at momentum oscillators. We do see monthly Stokes are actually crossing down, or gonna be crossing down if they end here, or if price action ends here or lower at the end of this month of November. This would also be considered a rejection of the bullish control zone. So I would say that is actually up to bulls to get continuation this month. So I do expect bulls to push it sometime during this month. And realistically, from a monthly perspective, the next major area is going to be around 11,000. Now, lower time frames are going to look a lot different, but let's look at monthly RSI. We did confirm above the exponential. I really like that as well. Very similar read to what we had right over here on this pullback, to what we saw on monthly RSI in June 2016. We had our first travel up into test the bullish control zone, quickly rejected from it, came all the way down, tested the exponential, and then marched up for the rest of the next couple years. And that was around this point right here. And we have a very similar situation in the current, in the current trajectory of Bitcoin. Gets its first test into the bullish control zone, boom, rejected, catches the exponential. It's not perfect, it doesn't look exactly like it, but it doesn't need to. This is the art and technical analysis. We're looking for rhyming. We're not looking for, exact fractals, which is just bullshit. So again, I actually do like this over here. Ending above the exponential, pretty damn good. Let's also take a look at what I alluded to yesterday. What actually matters a lot to me, and what's really going to also help set the bias for this, and bringing up the accumulation distribution indicator right here, you do see that we have retained the positive slope. It has retained its I guess slope in a sense. We haven't really increased it or brought it down at all. So this would overall be bullish. I do put a lot of weight on this, especially on a monthly time frame like this, as it's been just so fucking accurate in the past, calling the major highs and major lows. Of course, on the slope switch right here, that was January 2019. That was basically on the low of Bitcoin. The slope switch right here was March of 2018. This was on the $12,000 bull trap right here. So these are this is overall pretty damn good. I don't care about the color on this. I'm color neutral. I don't see colors over here. I ain't no racist, but I am a slope racist. So this is looking okay. This is still looking good, maintaining that, and I would say that does bode well for the longer term picture. So longer term picture, I do like that was set in last night. It would have been a lot better if we ended above 9,500, but good enough is good enough. And I would say that there's really no reason to be long term bearish as long as Bitcoin is now above about $8,000. Above the red 10 simple, I don't see any reason at all to be long-term bearish. That doesn't mean that we can't have downs here and there. In fact, on the lower time frames, we could quite literally come all the way down to about 8,000, 8,200 and still maintain that. But I do think that would end up being a buy if we did come back down there, or at the very least, I'd try a trade out there. And like I said, for full disclosure, I am long right now. I will post my position on my YouTube story updates. I've actually been posting a lot of updates on my YouTube stories. If you're unsure of how to access that, I've been getting a lot of questions. I think if it can only be accessed from the YouTube app on like mobile, and I think if you just go to my channel, it should be present there if you are interested in watching that. Anyways, so yeah. The monthly picture just kind of chugging along, and damn good close on that. So I do like that. Let's see, what other higher time frames closed last night? Did we get a 2-day closure? Yes, we did. Just coming back down to test the 50 exponential moving average. Not really anything else to kind of talk about right here. We see once again that $9,000 region is a protected region. So on the lower time frames, and I'm going to go down to a daily, the same area that I've been speaking about for the last week or so now is the area to watch. As long as we're living above the 200 simple, I do think that Bitcoin just kind of flags out here in a very sloppy and disgusting way, and then moves its way upwards and onwards, probably into the low 10,000s over time. Of course, remember this is not a lower time frame, so we'll get into that a little bit later. So I'm not speaking towards like today's worth of price action, but on a daily closing basis, overall okay. We are getting more divergences between the red 10 simple and the yellow 21 on this time frame as well, and both Krown above the the purple 200 exponential average right here. So we're slowly but surely getting a lot of the lower periods trading above the higher periods, which just longer term I do like. We'll take a look at the simples a little bit later to judge kind of strength of trend, but for right now, again, just, in the most basic sense, the same sort of actionable areas that I see both for the upside and the downside in the medium time frames is about the same. If you want to make this simple right here, no pun intended, I'd be using the 200 simple on the daily to kind of judge any sort of a break to the downside. If we do break the 200 simple right here, I'd look for a quick move down to about 85, 8,600, probably small bounce there, and then continuation down to the monthly pivot, which is somewhere around that, 8,200 to 8,000 region. As long as long as we're closing daily doldrums above this, or even just like even like I don't want to say 4 hour. That's a little bit too low. Maybe a 12 hour is kind of the lowest that I go here. I think that that's fine, and it's overall just a nice, healthy consolidation. And to the upside, we have the 200 simple on the 12-hour governing our, governing our highs thus far. So I wouldn't be looking for the next major move to the upside, in major move to the upside, meaning into like the mid 10,000s most likely, until we get a 12-hour dildo close above about 9,600. Now you could go down to a lower time frame perhaps, and tighten that up a little bit. We'll actually do that right now. Let's actually go through the lower time frames right now. Or do we want to do that right now? Yeah, why not? Why fucking not? Just put on some trend lines right here. You do see the most preliminary areas with the 4-hour support right around 90.40 on Mexico, and most preliminary resistance right around 94.50. A break above 94.50, I'd look for a quick move up to about 97.50. So $300 move, which is certainly tradable. I mean, that's a little bit more. That's like what, 4%. So this definitely worthwhile in my opinion. And right now it just looks like it's kind of flagging out. Looks like it's kind of getting accumulated along this level right here. So I would run with the bullish assumption. I am overall bullish as long as we maintain, once again, above 90.50, we'll call it, at the very least on a 4-hour closing basis, but preferably a daily for maximum confidence in myself. And again, if we do break to the downside from a 4-hour perspective, I'd look for a small bounce, maybe around like 86.50, 87, and then continuation down to about 84, 85, then maybe a small bounce there, and then continuation probably down to 82, 8,000-ish region. And then I'd look for the monthly to kind of pick it up, and we'll judge it from there. It's unlikely to happen in just this in the snap of fucking fingers right now. Anyways, let's put back on all these major movement averages and see what else we got to talk about here. There we go. Alrighty, lovely. Absolutely lovely. Let's see what lower time frame. Now let's go through the medium time frames and kind of judge these guys as I kind of whiffed right through them. But looking at daily Stokes, we actually do see daily Stokes crossing down right here. I do believe that this is a little bit of a weak cross to the downside, as you do see that we do have resistance in this region, which is the bullish control zone, right? But judging the slope of this, it is nowhere near as aggressive as what we saw back on over here in early October. So to me, this could very easily be snaking around as long as Bitcoin essentially just doesn't break below 9,000. We will see that switch back around, and of course if Bitcoin probably gets back above, let's say 94.50, this horizontal right here, I would be looking for that to cross back up to the upside. Daily RSI, just coming back down to test the exponential. This is okay. It's a nice and orderly drop off right here. I don't see any like major issues with it, unless if we actually start to break the exponential on it. And again, just more sideways here allows these momentum oscillators to kind of cool off, reset, and without breaking any sort of major structure. Then I would still maintain my bullish bias on these timeframes. Again, that all gets destroyed if we break the 200 simple on a daily little time frame. And I want to be so deliberately clear with this because of this mishap down here. Remember this mishap down here? Remember, when this got broken back up to the upside, I changed my bias. I will do the exact same thing here. I'm telling you in advance, just like I said right over here. Most people got it, to be fair, but for the people who did have a little bit of blowback, I just want to make sure that I'm doing my best to communicate, or at least in the way that I can, because I know I'm certainly not perfect at that. But I just want to be 100% clear. If this does break here, I will no longer be biased to the upside. I will close any long positions that I have open, and I won't really be taking profit on them now, because I did start them pretty much right around about 9,100. So I do have about an average price right around 91 right now. And I'll likely flip short. And target that move to about 85, 86, and then probably continuation down here towards 82, 8,000-ish region. Okay, anyways, let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Let's go over 2-day and 3-day. 2-day momentum oscillator is still headed up, and more importantly, I do believe that we have finally confirmed above this resistance trend line right here. With yesterday's close, yes, indeed, we have. We are out of the bearish control zone officially, and I do believe that this is a big deal, or at least more of a good thing than not. 2-day RSI more or less healthy. We actually had a little bit of a falling pizza here. It looks like on 2-day RSI, which I for some reason I've drawn in, but I don't remember ever talking about it. So maybe I was just making pictures here. To be fair, overall. I'm curious what the 3-day is looking like, because the 3-day has been getting things a little bit better than the 2-day as of recent times. And the 3-day Stokes still popping back up. We are crossing back up from the same territory that has caused some pretty massive rallies over the past years. In fact, the last time that we were in this, in the critical zone crossing up was December, like literally on the lows of last year, 2018. Time before that we actually saw a cross up was back on over here in August 2018, which was precipitating this rally from 6,000 all the way to 75-ish. The time before that was this guy right here from the 6,000 to 8,400 rally. The time before that was this 6,000, or sorry, it was this guy right here from 6,000 all the way up to 12,000. So another 100% rally right there, pretty damn good. So overall, I do put a lot, I do put some significance on that. And looking at the 3-day RSI, we are back above the neutral zone for the first time in actually about a month and a half now. So this is a little bit of a change of behavior from this perspective. And of course, looking at volume signature right here, this is change behavior volume. I mean, what are we looking for? We're looking for an outlier to judge a difference in the overall feeling of this market, if you want to call it that. Some sort of, well, in essence, you could call it a reversal. You could call it a reversal, I suppose. I'm just I should brush up on the fucking English dictionary. I'm running out of words here. So I do think that this does hold. And again, where do we see all these major moving averages coming around? Well, we see the 21 and 55 coming in a little bit lower than that 90-50 area that I do see on daily, but they're essentially one and the same to me. As long as we're above the 21 on the 3-day chart, which is at 80, or sorry, it's about 89.50. It'll probably travel up to about 9,000 on the next tick, maybe 90.50. I would still be a little bit biased to the upside. Again, doesn't mean that it can't break down. It certainly can break down and put in another lower high right here and come all the way back down. But until we actually break that area, that's not my bias, and I'm not trading for that right now. As far as this goes, I do think that it is worth mentioning that this, remember this massive, powerful, girthy green dildo right here. This one averted this very nasty cross piece between the 21 and the 55. To me, that is indicative of that is indicative of a powerful market force kind of luring people into shorts within this region. And then right before the cross happens, right here, right before it happens, the next day the next tick it was going to be confirmed. We get this girthy green dildo up and crisis averted. So it's very similar to what we see right here on the other side, when you're almost going to have the bullish cross right here during the bear market, and then we shoot right back down afterwards. This is a trap, and this, for all intents and purposes, as long as we remain above the 21, is to be considered a trap as well. Anyways, as far as a 3-day goes, I think the obvious area right here to kind of clear on the next major move is going to be about 95.50 to 9600. I mean, you can just run a nice little regression line through here. It's basically the same thing as a weekly pivot. If I put in a horizontal right here, I'll be using this area. And do we get another one today? No, we do not. We have to wait until tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time to get the next 3-day dildo. So perhaps we do have a chance to actually confirm above this. Could we also confirm below the 21? Yes, but it drives the next bias essentially for myself. So I see the same thing essentially on a weekly as well. And in fact, the weekly is a little bit more clear. In fact, looking at this right here, this is just coming back from our April 2018 highs. It did hold us up during this consolidation from the prior 3 months in like July, August, September. And once again, we're kind of retesting it. And so thus far have been rejected from it. But I would say, once again, on the weekly, as long as we're above all major moving averages, I have no reason to be, I've no validity to be bearish on a weekly time frame for that. That also does mean that coming into this week's closure, it's gonna offer up a pretty damn easy trade. Whichever way that we break from this, what is a kind of doji-ish dildo right here. I mean, it's basically just consolidation is what we're looking at right now. Whichever way that we break, whether we take out the high or the low first, is likely going to be our next major direction. Of course, getting a close would be better, but I do believe in this scenario, it would be appropriate to be a little bit more aggressive. And I do believe that the upside again is just I'm always going to be bullish on something that's above all major moving averages, just longer term. I'm always going to be that. Doesn't mean that you can't have little downs here and there. Of course you can, but as long as we maintain this, that's all well and good to me. And more importantly, we do see that weekly Stokes are going to have a chance to have a fresh Stoke cross up to the upside here. This will confirm. As long as Bitcoin is above, let's call it like 9,100 or even 9,000, by end of week Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Pretty much every stoke cross the upside in Bitcoin's history has been pretty damn good on a weekly time frame from this critical area. We did call the low in December 2018, and then we called the higher low, right here with the weekly stokes. Before that, we had a few stoke crosses up during 2018, during July, and then again in April. So that was during this rally right here, a very, very powerful one from 6,000 to 9,000. Oh, just 1 second, guys. I do have a visitor right now. What? No. Do you have a package? Or... 1 second, I'll get my phone. Alrighty, guys, I'm going to close up the video right now. I have an urgent issue and I have to go. I will be back on maybe later. Take care and see you soon.